All right. Let me hit the display button so y'all can see my board. It should be coming through now.
It's gone again.
Oh my God.
You lost the penalty.
Make sure you hit accept when it comes through. Oh, Coney, can you see it?
The whiteboard?
Yeah, you should be. It should be asking you to accept.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay. All right, so we got 3.1. Let's see if these, I'm going to put subject. I was hoping these would be in order, but I don't know if they're in order or not.
Hey, Terry Kilgore sent you a friend
Yeah, I
request.
don't like him. He's crazy.
He's on.
That's my uncle.
Yeah. 3.1, number 18. My head's starting up again.
I hate. Oh, you're so annoying. This was one of the easy ones.
All right.
They were all wrong.
Now, I haven't covered this, but I'll cover it now. There's another rule of I, and I use it, and I made it up a long time ago.
No, I invented that actually.
I is a fraction of the class one is a whole. Odd, negative, even, is positive. Everybody with me? Let me give you an example. If I have I to the fourth power, then I'm going to take 4 and divide it by 2, and that gives me 2, a positive 2. Positive tells me, even tells me that it's going to be positive, and is 2 a whole number or a fraction? So the answer is positive 1. What does that mean? That means that, wait, I didn't want to.
Tears coming in?
Yeah. That means that if you take I times I times I times I, what's I times I? I squared. What's I times I? I squared. Negative 1 times negative 1 is. So instead of doing all this, you can just take 4 divided by 2 and then apply this rule. So here we've got negative 1 over negative I to the 68. So I'm going to focus on this. What's 68 divided by 2? 34. Is 34 odd or even? And what is 34? A whole number or a fraction?
Whole number.
So you got negative 1 over negative 1, which should be 1. I do not test on that because, I'll be honest with you, I've taken many math classes and I've never seen that in a math class. So I don't know what they use it for. And you feel good. So.
That's too much work. How easy.
Okay. Good job. So I is a fraction of the class, meaning I, think of somebody not speaking good English. I is a fraction of the class and 1 is the whole class. So if you come out with a fraction, whether it's a mixed number or an improper fraction or a proper fraction, then it's I. If you come out with a whole number, then it's 1. And then if it's odd or even, it's negative. I know you haven't seen that before because that's something I invented a long time ago. Yeah, I invented it. I'll never forget when I invented it. I was teaching in Pickens Hall. It was my second semester. I was teaching a 035, which is kind of like classic 102. And I was doing the fourth, what they show in the book. And I said I to the fourth, and you have to take and divide by 4. The book says divide by 4, I think. And I said, why don't you just divide by 2? And then I started working with it on the board, and I came up with that. And it works. So now let's do one that's not I to the 4th. Let's do I to the 7th. I to the 7th. I to the 7th. What's 7 divided by 2? 3.5. What is 3? Odd or even? And what is 3.5? Is that a fraction or a whole number? So the answer is negative I. That's a nice little thing to use. She's been like this all morning. I'm worried about her. She's got this thing going on in her mind or something. She's sick or something.
See your dog's turning.
Yeah, I think she's got a hangover. I think that's what it is.
Smoke too?
Yep.
I didn't know smoke was not.
Who you mad at?
Nobody.
You sure?
Yeah.
I'm getting these negative vibes off of her. All right, let's do another question. That was number 18. This is number 19. Okay, we already did that one. We did that one yesterday, so make sure you check the YouTube and just do the shortcut. Oh, well, Mr. Ray, since y'all were locked out, I'll do it for you, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, I forgot. I didn't see who. So let's do it. And remember, the secret to this is do it step by step and also use the parentheses. We know this is shortcut number what? It's this one. Let's see, squared. So which one is squared? It's this one. So it's A. Okay, you got to square it because you got to get rid of what? What are you trying to get rid of? The radicals. So I got square root of 2 over 2 plus the square root of 2 over 2i, quantity squared. That's A plus B, quantity squared, is equal to A squared plus 2AB plus B squared. So this is A and this is B. Now just plug in what? Plug and chug.
Use the parentheses.
And use the parentheses because it makes life a whole lot easier. Square root of 2, square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2i, and square root of 2 over 2i. Now just do the algebra or the math. What happens to the square root of 2 over 2? That cancels that square out, and you're left with 2 over what? 4. Plus, well, this is going to be 2, this 2 times 2 is what here? 4? So I'm just going to put a 4 right here. And what happens with the 2 and the 4? 2, that goes out. So you're left with the square root of 2 times the square root of 2. What's the square root of 2 times the square root of 2? The square root of 4, which is 2. So we get 2 over blue 2 and I. And then over here we get plus 2 over 4 I what? Squared. And what does I squared turn into?
-1.
That's a -1. So the 2 fourths cancel, and that cancels, and you're left with I. And that's how you prove that all of that is equal to I.
You just have to use your
What?
You just have to use your imagination.
And again, is this a test question? No, I would not ask this on test. It is probably a standardized test question and a homework question, but I don't test you on it. Unless I don't like you. And then if I don't like you, then that means I put it on there. What?
I'm sorry.
No,
It's
no.
like to have long talks.
Come late every day, I don't like it.
You know, I'm actually up in a way.
Yeah, I know, it just takes a while, right?
No, like I'm serious.
All right, I think we went over these, I'm not sure. I'm gonna jump down to 3.3. 3.3 says, what? Okay. This is part of completing the square. It's almost at the end where you solve for what? Solve for x. So you already know how to do this. So now, do they want an approximate or do they want, looks like they want an exact. So 2k plus 3 quantity squared is equal to 8. Take the square root of both sides. Now, since this is not what Hubert does, and they got a bunch of radicals, you better leave this under the radical or simplify with the radical. So that's context. Dang old context. Context means that if the answers are written in terms of radicals, you need to what? Use radicals. Did I spell that right? I spelled that right. So that's 2k plus 3 is equal to 2 times the square root of 2. And then 2k is equal to 2 square root of 2 minus 3. And then divide by 2, divide by 2. So k is equal to 2 square root of 2 minus 3 over 2. So which one is that? It's going to be positive and negative. There it is. They're doing it right here. Positive and negative. I wouldn't do it like that, but that's the way they're doing it, so. No, it's this one. It's this one. Okay, now they're trying to confuse you. Whenever you take the square root of something, what is it? It's the positive or the what?
Negative.
Negative. So you need to take your highlighter and highlight that. That's a positive and a negative. So it's going to be negative 3 plus the square root of 2, negative 3 minus the square root of 2. And then they turn it around in a way that nobody ever writes it. So the answer is C. Now, chances are you did this problem correctly, but you couldn't get the right answer because you didn't know the way it was written. Well, they shouldn't have wrote it that way. This is the way it should be written. That's some computer guru trying to mess with you. Just curious, who sent that question? Okay. Did you do it correctly and you didn't know why the answer, is that what it was?
Mm-hmm. No, she sent it.
Who sent it?
I was being funny.
I did.
Is that, did you do it right and you didn't know which the answer it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's some geek being funny, saying, oh, well, I'm going to write it this way and let's see if they get it wrong. And they put the negative 3 out front. Does everybody see what I'm saying?
It's like a dog from Wacky Race.
Third.
Okay. So don't feel bad on that one. You did the stuff correctly. You just couldn't figure out what they wanted, so that's not a big deal. All right. Next one. And this is number 14. Okay, this is a test question. And that last one was a test question, but I wouldn't write the answer like that. All right, solve this equation. I'll blow it up for you a little bit. There you go. And that's just a basic algebra 2, algebra 1, algebra 2 question. So if you can't do it, then that's pretty sad.
We quit?
Yeah. Or text your friends. Yeah. That was Angel.
I know. This watch me make an answer.
You're supposed to go in the hallway to text. I don't know why y'all don't do that. That just hurts my feelings, makes me feel bad about myself, and I have to put smokestacks on my pickup truck. Or now you make your truck look like the dog scratching his rear end on the floor. That's what you do now. I'm sorry if you, huh? That's what you're supposed to do as a teenager or male that has, insecurities about themselves. That's what's funny is when you ask one of them why you got smokestacks. Oh, it helps the engine. Do you know why we have smokestacks on trucks? You know the story? I actually did the history on this. Does everybody know why we have smokestacks on real trucks, not pickup trucks? Because a long time ago, a lot of people didn't have air conditioning in their car. So what did they do? They rolled their windows down. Well, the big trucks back in the 50s and 60s, they didn't have smokestacks going out the top. They had them coming out where? Behind the gas tank. So when you were at a red light beside a big truck in the 50s and 60s, you got carbon monoxide poisoning right there at the red light because you had the windows down. So the DOT said, what? Put smokestacks on the big trucks. So the only reason for smokestacks is to keep from fumigating people that roll their windows down at the red light. So any jerk that tells you, oh, it's for the torque, they're a damn idiot. Oh, I tell you that.
I never somebody say that. I wanted to get them on my home.
But now you have to, you know how your dog will drag his butt across the floor? I don't have a dog, so I don't know. That's what the truck should look like now. Girls, you see a truck like that, run as fast as you can away.
They called it a California thing one time. He took his lift off the back of the sheet just like that.
Unless you just like being the victim of domestic violence. People think I'm crazy.
Oh no, like the main strip.
But that's what happens.
That's all it is.
All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to distribute, and that gives us 3x squared minus 11x is equal to 14. And now we can use, well, we can't use it because I haven't shown you how to do it yet, but you would probably, since you don't know how to do complete the square yet, you may, I don't know if they want you to use complete the square, you may be able to factor. But I'm not ready to do that, so I'll just 3x to the second minus 11x minus 14 is equal to 0, and solve that by factoring. But if we did it by completing the square, and you're not ready to do this yet, but we're talking about a 4 or a 5. Where did we leave off the other day? 1 or a 2? A 4 or 5? What?
We did a 5.
We did a 5? Okay, well then we're ready to go then. So this is a number 6, a 5 or a 6. So I'm going to do 11x plus blank is equal to 14 plus blank. I'm going to factor out a 3, and I'm going to do that in blue. And that's going to give me x squared minus 11/3 x plus blank. It's supposed to be a black. Suck. Three. And that's going to give us x squared minus 11/3 x, and that's when you're supposed to quit, plus blank is equal to 14 plus 3 times blank.
And there's some different things.
All right?
Slow down, Phil.
Now, I want you to take 11/3, divide it by 2, and square it. Do it just like I told you to. Don't try to skip steps and be Mr. Super Male, okay? Do the steps and do the way you're supposed to do it. Oh, I don't need to do that. I'm a guy. So 11/3 divided by 2 is the same thing as 11/3 multiplied by what? 1/2. Good. Y'all the ones that follow directions. So 11/3. I'm going to do it over here. 11/3 divided by 2 over 1 squared. 11 thirds multiplied by 1/2 squared. 11 over 6 squared. And we're still dealing with elementary mathematics, so all of you know that 11 squared is 121 over 36. Okay? So now shortcut number 1 or number 2 is going to give you 3 times x minus 11 6 quantity squared is equal to, well, that 3 and that 36 will do what?
Cancel.
That'll be 12, okay? 14 times 12, well, 14 is 140. 168. Somebody help me out. 168 over 12. Somebody divide 168 by 12 and see if you get 14. Plus 121 over 12.
Yeah.
All right, finish it out.
14.
You have to have a common denominator. You just can't say 14 plus 121 over 12. You have to have a common denominator. So finish it out and sketch it out. Oh, and again, the only non-7th grade and below math that I've used is the shortcut. Everything else is below 7th grade math. I'm just doing that to compound the discouragement. Okay, good. Text your friends. You don't need to use your calculator. Why are you using your calculator? Because you like a teddy bear or a security blanket. Which one is it? Okay, I figured.
I was trying to figure out how you got 168, but then I was like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, cool.
Okay, put a 1 under the 14. How many times will 1 go into 12? 12 times. 12 times 14 is 168.
Yeah, I found out that much. But
You know it. Because you didn't get your money's worth in high school when you were told to use that calculator whenever you got something
Math
challenging.
was actually my favorite subject.
I bet they told you to use a calculator too, didn't they?
And probably stats. When the algebra,
Well, they should have in algebra.
when probably stats, that's all we did was computer.
Well, I let them use a calculator in my 120.
That's all we did.
Okay, so
Click that tab.
I got 3 times x minus 11 over 16 is equal to 168 is 189. Help me out. 289. 289 over 12. So what's our vertex? Vertex is negative or positive 11 sixteenths, comma, 289, negative 289 over 12. And y'all can punch that in your calculator and get a decimal.
It's
Okay.
11 over 6.
What?
What is 16? It's 11 over 6. Yeah, that's 6.
I guess I'm just
That's what
I guess
about to say.
I'm
I was
just
like, wait a minute.
hallucinating.
I was like, what?
I'm just hallucinating.
I give up now.
Yeah, just give up. Teacher made a mistake, so that's when you give up.
If we started balloons started floating in here.
Yeah, I just insert numbers.
Y'all settle down.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Sorry, Pendleton. Y'all must have us mistaken for Oconee.
Yeah, get it together.
All right, divide by 3. When you divide by 3 over 1, that means you multiply by what? Over 3. Look at there, you get a perfect square on the bottom. I'll bet you that's a perfect square too.
I will tell you.
So x minus 11 over 16 over 6, quantity squared, is equal to 289 over what? 36. Well, 289, I'm trying to think. I know 225 is 15, 17. Somebody check, raise 17 to the second power, see what you get.
289.
It's a miracle. X minus 11 over 6 equals positive or negative 17 over 6. Now finish it. What? What'd you say? Sharing is caring. What'd you say? What'd you say? What'd she say?
Legally,
What'd you say? No, we're not moving. We're not going any further until you tell me what you said.
Fine with me. We can just take a pause on this equation.
Oh, is that what you said?
I'm so lost.
Why are you lost?
And then you talk about some finish the equation. What? Okay.
Where are you lost? Tell me where you lost.
Okay. I get all that. That's like
I never look at it again. Wait.
can you,
And this is just number 6.
this little area right here.
This area right here.
Where are you? You got to give me a number. Where are you confused?
3 parentheses x minus 11 over 6 right there. That area.
Where you divided by 3.
Yes, and did all that. Mhm.
Well, how do you solve for x?
You gotta get x by itself.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I know
So
that
I got to divide by 3.
much. Okay.
And when you divide by 3 over 1, you multiply by 1 over 3. Y'all know that.
Oh, I know. Never mind. You go ahead.
Okay, that's how I got to 36.
You just went a little too fast.
I'm sorry. Now take the square root of both sides.
Wait a minute. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, you good now?
Yeah.
All right, now finish it.
They can see me now. Hey. They don't know who's there.
What's 17? They don't talk.
Oh,
17 plus 11 is what?
I don't know.
28 divided by 6 is 14 over 3. Right? So 14 over 3 is 1 x-intercept. What's negative 17 plus 11?
1.
I thought it was negative
6 over
6.
6.
And that's negative 1. So there's our 2 x-intercepts. Now draw it.
It's a lot of work.
Okay? Somebody tell me what 11 over 6 is. 1 and 5, 6, which is almost 2, right? So 1, 2, and then somebody tell me what 289 over 12 is.
24.
Is it 24 even?
24 plus 08333.
Now, way down what? Way down here. So there is our vertex. What's our our y-intercept? We had it right here. What is it?
Negative 14.
That's right in there. And 14 thirds is 4 and 1/3. And negative 1. Why is this thing so skinny? Because it's got a 3 in front of it. Because it's got a what? It's got a 3 in front of it.
Don't discriminate.
Now, go ahead and tell me what the domain is. What's the domain?
All the numbers.
If you miss the domain on my test, what should you not do? You should not tell anybody. Okay? Range is negative 289 to 12. Negative 289, 12 to infinity. That's your range. Decreasing from negative infinity to 11/6. Increasing from 11/6 to what?
To infinity.
And there you go. Line of symmetry.
34 and a half.
Line of symmetry is 11/6. Now, of course, they only asking for the x-intercepts on this question. But if you want to learn how to do completing the square, every time you have a quadratic, you need to be doing completing the square, and you need to be doing all of this. By the time we get to the Unit 3 test, you'll not only know how to, Unit 2 test, By the time we get to the Unit 2 test, you'll just fly through Unit 1 test because you already know how to do all this stuff. That's why I give you the Unit 2 and Unit 1 test together. Okay? And you feel good about yourself. So let's go ahead and, what does it say? Does it say, I don't have I, 14/3 and -1. I'm just going to type in 3 because I ain't going to type it in right. They're going to want everything stand upside down on your head and all this, and I'm not going to do all that.
I don't understand why they don't like several solutions for one.
Because that's the difference between a math teacher putting in the answers and a computer programmer putting in the answer. Computer programmer not even thinking about math. When they punch in the answers, they're not even thinking about it. Okay, I got -1 and 14/3. Look at there. -1 and 14/3. We feel good about ourselves. So you don't have to put on too much makeup. Who's got a question? All right, I gave y'all one more level today. Let's call it a day. I want to just say everybody's here today. Y'all have a good weekend. You should be working on 3.1 through 3.4 and send in questions, and I'll see y'all when? Monday. Now, let me say one thing, y'all. Let me say one thing. I'm going to give you a test, and this is the online class also for the one that's listening. I'm going to give you a Chapter 3 test and a Chapter 4 test and a Chapter 5 test. So you need to look at your outline. We're coming up on the end of Chapter 3 because 3.4 is the last one. So you're fixing to have the Chapter 1 test or 2 test and the Chapter 3 test, the Unit 1, Unit 2. And then we're going to have 2 little tests. So just look at your outline, okay? Y'all have a good weekend.